After 7 months of construction, Heroes Regional Park Lake is open and ready for visitors. Hello, I'm Councilmember Joyce Clark representing the Yucca District. Welcome to this edition of Beyond the Headlines. Today I'm going to show you how this beautiful lake was built and all the ways that residents will be able to enjoy it for many years to come. Building a lake is no simple task. Here is a behind-the-scenes look at the process.
People look at it and you just think, you dig a hole and you fill it with water, and that's your lake, but there's more to it than that.
It's a fun process to watch because it's a big hole out there. They use lots of earth-moving equipment. They also use dozers that everyone used to play with as kids. They will use those to force the soil into the back of the scraper, and it's that scraper then that drives around to the back of the site, discharges it where it needs to be.
We moved 42,000 cubic yards of dirt in 20 days. It would be right around 3,000 dump truck loads of dirt.
The lake is 13 feet deep, but that's just at the deepest part. Right here at the edges, it's only 1.5 feet deep, so there's a shelf. So if a small child or even an adult were to trip or fall or stumble into the lake, they'd have a platform they could stand up on and then get out of the lake. Then after that, there's a slope, and then it drops off rapidly.
So the contractor, if he runs into some big stuff, he'll run it over a screen that filters out the larger particles and leaves the smaller stuff that works well for doing fill areas and building grade and stuff like that. So the sidewalk is exactly what you have in front of your house. That leads a nice walkway around the site.
It's about a half a mile. So that'll be nice for people who want to come and do laps and have some distance calculation.
And they'll set forms. In the thicker concrete, you might have rebar in it to support it. As you get into fishing piers that are support structures where you'll have people jetting out.
There's 2 piers and a fish drop location that ties into the fire lane. It's 90 business days of work, including in the excavation, the prep, forming and placement and finishing of concrete here on site.
After we're done digging the hole, you could fill it with water, but you'd have to keep putting water in it because it's going to filter through the soil in the bottom. And you put a liner in. It's a rubber or a neoprene layer, keeps the water from permeating into the soil.
We installed a 45 mil liner, and we put in a geofabric over the top of that liner and then a ballast material, which is soil. There's a foot of soil on top of that to keep the liner down so it don't float up.
They do what's called an anchor to assure that it stays in place, where they'll get to the top of the liner and they'll have a trench that it goes into and cover all that with concrete and shotcrete and rocks and such.
There's rock placement throughout the lake, and it's strategically placed for habitat for the fish. With consultation with Arizona Game and Fish, there was some fish habitat structures that were installed in the bottom and the base of the lake.
This water is coming from the Grand Canal off the SRP system, and that water will be untreated, raw SRP water.
It took 12 days to fill the lake.
We've all filled swimming pools at some point, and it's not a garden hose. It's much, much larger than that.
So the initial fill is going to be approximately 30 million gallons. And then after that, on a yearly basis, because we're going to have some evaporation, just a little bit of leakage, probably about 13 million gallons after that. So this is actually using much less than 1/10 of 1% of our total SRP supply. We really don't utilize our total SRP supply. We utilize maybe about 1/4 of it to 1/3. Plenty of water left over.
So you just want to make sure there's oxygen. There'll be oxygenators, which are pumps, a water feature, which is spraying water out. It's just to keep the water moving.
It's a floating fountain, so the base of the fountain is a self-contained apparatus that is suspended in the water. And then it's anchored to the floor of the lake, so it's not going to float around the lake or move around with the wind. It has the ability to be lit up with LED lights, so we can change colors. It also can have sound programmed through it, so music can play. So when we're doing an event, we can use it as a feature.
So you want to cover all the soil up there with either gravel, turf areas, trees, irrigation systems, etc. It's kind of a polish to the site and make it look natural and attractive for the public.
We have over 190 shrubs being installed, just over 70 trees.
We work with a list of trees that we find are successful in this climate and in our park systems. There's kind of two things going on there. One is it's Arizona, it's hot and dry, and two, in a public park, they get used pretty hard. So in this project, we have 3 tree species primarily: the live oak, the ash, and the desert willow.
It's almost like art, right? You take a piece of something and you turn it into something that's beautiful, something that's great, something that's usable by many people. It's a wonderful feeling to be a part of this project.
We live in a great community, great weather, and I think it's a great amenity for the citizens.
Urban fishing is one of this lake's major attractions. The Arizona Department of Game and Fish will keep it stocked with various fish all year round. They also built the fish habitats. Here's how they did it.
Heroes Regional will get stocked 10 times per year. It's like pulling a plug in a bathtub. And the fish just go right out with the water. We put them in, it's the angler's job to get them out. Warm water fish during the warm water months, which include catfish, bass, and bluegill. With summertime, the water temperatures reaching into the 90s, they'll be able to survive that just fine. And then during the winter months, the cooler months, we do rainbow trout. The trout that we put in will not survive through the summer, so those will be taken out by anglers. They're a common species used throughout the United States, common to aquaculture, and that's essentially how we ended up with those particular species. So a normal stocking of catfish over the course of 4 stockings during the year, that would be about 2,000 pounds. For trout, we generally do pretty close to 1,000 pounds. And for bass and bluegill, we generally will do about 200 pounds per year.
Like with any living creature, you really need some form of structure, whether, humans, it's a house, animals, it's shade trees, fish are no different. They want structure to feel safe. You put these structures out there, fish are gonna find them. Fish wanna get in these structures and hide from predators. Large predatory fish are gonna know that, so they're gonna be suspended up and around them, hoping to get the opportunity to snatch one of those small forage fish. So these structures take anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes to build, depending on the skill set of the person building them. The lake consultant came in and they included some fish habitat structures called mossbacks. They did roughly 30 to 40 of those structures. We put in roughly 15 of the Georgia cubes, and then we did, I think, right around 15 of these porcupine cribs. We contact tree service companies locally. We try to get their logs donated to us before they go to a landfill or cut up into firewood. We mill them into 3-inch by 3-inch pieces of wood. We weigh them down with cinder blocks, and then we stack the wood pieces around the cinder blocks into a pyramid. So this basically gives us a lot of nooks and crannies for fish to go into. So this is our Georgia cube. We use 1.5-inch PVC. We build a cube and then we wrap the corrugated pipe diagonally, sideways, you name it. Just trying to give, an areas for fish to hide into. Just imitating a root ball or a tree. Really, it congregates fish for anglers to have the opportunity to have better success. Really, that's what this is all about. We want anglers to have success, to be happy when they're fishing, to buy more licenses, to buy more gear, which it all comes back full circle to us to do more of these projects.
A fishing license is required. It could be either a general fishing license or a hunting and fish combo license. The way we've established bag limits in our community waters is dependent upon our stocking strategies. So Heroes Regional Park here would be under what we call the pond limits, which is 2 catfish per day, 2 trout per day, 5 sunfish, and 1 largemouth bass. Most importantly, just enjoy yourself. This is really about being outdoors, hopefully with the added benefit of catching a fish, but this is about something that the community can do with their families.
Glendale residents have waited a long time for this lake. It's been in the city's capital improvement program for more than 2 decades. So the city held a grand opening celebration. For those of you who are unable to attend, here's a quick peek at the festivities.
3, 2, 1.
This lake is a signature element in this park, and I think you would agree with me. It defines it, and adds a beautiful and useful amenity.
This may not be a big deal to some, but I can tell it's a really big deal to pretty much everybody that's here today. It's a beautiful lake.
It's taken a generation, 24 years, to get to the point where we finally have the lake in this park. I can remember when we all had to band together to keep the city from selling this land for yet another residential development. We are thankful that the city listened to its residents, and we are very thankful now as the city fulfills its commitment to complete this park.
We've lived in the same home just up the street here for 28 years. Honestly, it's speechless because it's so beautiful and we've been watching it and we've been waiting for it to come. You come out here and you just feel like you can breathe and enjoy God's creation. I'm just so grateful. Glendale is on the ball.
We wouldn't be here unless it weren't a team effort. I could nag from now until Methuselah, but it takes an entire team to say, yes, we're committed to finishing this park.
We worked hard as a team to get a torch, give it to Councilmember Clark, and she took it across the finish line.
It's been a struggle to make sure that all these moving parts come together, but the struggle is made easier when you do it as a team. It starts with our city manager, and it's really about what he says on an everyday basis and how he walks the talk about teamwork.
I hope you'll enjoy this lake for many years to come, whether it's just to relax, to do some exercising, or to fish. Enjoy it. It's there for all of you. Heroes Regional Park Lake came in on time and on budget at an estimated cost of about $4.7 million. It's sure to provide relaxation, entertainment, and beautiful views for all of you for many years to come. I hope you learned just how complicated this project was. I know that I did. I encourage you to visit this latest gem in the city's park system located at 83rd Avenue and Bethany Home Road. This is Councilmember Joyce Clark. Thanks for watching my latest edition of Beyond the Headlines. I'll see you next time.